This is a radiator that I purchased from a well-known website. In fact, I purchased 5 radiators from 5 different websites. All of them stated that these radiators have comparatively high heat outputs. However, all of them are lying, and I'm about to prove it to you.
Now then people, thank you for joining us once again. Bit of a different video this week. It's a reaction video. It is a reaction video to another video that was shown to me by Ukradiators. Ukradiators are a British company that supply radiators to us buyers, plumbers, heating engineers. Basically in the video it says how other suppliers and other manufacturers of radiators may be overestimating and overstating their BTUs and the watts of the outputs of radiators. As a plumber, this is concerning to myself, and it's something that I wasn't aware of that companies were doing, and after watching this video I think it's shone a new light on who I'm going to be buying radiators from in the future. So stick around, watch this video, and we're going to do a bit of a reaction throughout and at the end. So yeah, hope you enjoy.
We've learnt over the years that having a referee is a good thing. For government to be a referee to make sure there's sportsmanlike conduct.
Now you probably think that businesses in the UK can't lie about the products that they sell because there are rules and regulations, and if they did, they'd end up in serious trouble. But what if no one was enforcing the rules and regulations that are in place? Would businesses really adhere to them if there was no consequence?
I just want to pause it right there. I know we've only just started, but I always was under the impression that there was regulations and that there was like a governing body of like, for anything like consumer based, where if you're selling something it had to be regulated, especially in the UK at least. If you're buying from abroad it might have been different, but I was always under the understanding that it was regulated. So this is a shock to me, to be fair, and a bit concerning, because I will admit I've bought cheaper radiators online. I've gone on type for cheap radiators, and yeah, it's a bit of a concern for me. So it's something that I'll be changing definitely and not doing going forward. Let's continue with the video and see what we've got to say.
This is a radiator that I purchased from a well-known website. In fact, I purchased 5 radiators from 5 different websites. All of them stated that these radiators have comparatively high heat outputs. However, all of them are lying, and I'm about to prove it to you. In order to comply with British standards and to be sold legally in the UK, a radiator's heat output must be tested by a notified body, and the heat output advertised for the radiator must be backed by the test results. The unfortunate truth is that there are millions of radiators sold every year that have not been tested, and the heat outputs being advertised are overstated. Why does this matter? Because it affects the efficiency of your heating system and ends up costing you money in higher heating bills. I'm going to take these 5 radiators, all purchased from prominent websites in the UK, to a regulated lab and have them tested so we can see what the actual heat outputs are, and then compare them back to the heat outputs being advertised at the point of sale. I'm not going to name the websites that these radiators have been purchased from, as we're not trying to pick a fight with any particular business. These are just examples. There are countless more, as this issue is seriously widespread and goes way beyond the examples used in this video. The reason for making this video is to call on the government to do its job to protect you, the consumer, and start enforcing the regulations that are in place. So here we are at Bizria HQ in Bracknell. Now, Bizria are the only lab in the UK that are authorised for the testing of radiator heat outputs. So in order to carry a UK CA mark, radiators must be tested here at Bizria. So let's get these rads tested. The core objective of this testing is to determine the appliance's standard thermal outputs. This is achieved using a specific mathematical formula that accurately assesses the appliance's performance. In order to qualify as an authorised lab or notified body, the lab must have a test installation just like this one. This is currently the only qualified test installation in the UK. The test installation is a closed, unventilated booth designed with water-cooled surfaces. This unique setup maintains specific thermal conditions, ensuring accurate testing regardless of external environmental factors. Before a radiator is installed in the test chamber, measurements are taken with calibrated tools in order to ensure that the actual measurements of the radiator are within the allowed degree of tolerance of the measurements stated by the manufacturer. Once measurements have been taken, the radiator is installed in the test chamber and left for a period of around 8 hours. During this time, the sensors in the test chamber take continuous measurements which are passed back to the computer where the results are recorded. So with the rads dropped off for testing, let's head back to Colchester and wait for the results.
I didn't realise companies had to go into so much detail with and do all these measurements for the BTUs. I didn't realise they had to send radiators off to get this done. So I imagine this is going to cost money. So this gets added onto the bill of the radiator. So all these times when I huffed and puffed about how expensive a radiator is, it's probably because it was done right in the first place. So these times when I've gone and bought cheaper radiators, more than likely that's not being sent off for testing, or not being tested correctly, should we say. So yeah, it's a bit of a wake-up call for me, should I say. This next little bit of a video is definitely an eye-opener of how much these companies are overstating the BTUs and the outputs.
Right, the results are in, guys, and it really is as bad as we thought. In fact, in some cases, actually a lot worse. Now, for simplicity, all of the heat outputs I'm about to quote are stated at delta 50. Radiator 1 had an advertised heat output of 953 watts, which is 3,250 BTUs. The test results show an actual heat output of only 760 watts, equivalent to 2,592 BTUs. That's an overstated heat output of 25%. Radiator 2 had an advertised heat output of 1,026 watts, which is 3,500 BTUs. The test results show an actual heat output of only 786 watts, equivalent to 2,680 BTUs. That's an overstated heat output of 31%. Radiator 3 had an advertised heat output of 927 watts, which is 3,160 BTUs. The test results show an actual heat output of only 738 watts, equivalent to 2,517 BTUs. That's an overstated heat output of 26%. Radiator 4 had an advertised heat output of 988 watts, which is 3,371 BTUs. The test results show an actual heat output of only 716 watts, equivalent to 2,442 BTUs. That's an overstated heat output of a whopping 38%. And finally, Radiator 5 had an advertised heat output of 889 watts, which is 3,034 BTUs. The test results show an actual heat output of only 712 watts, equivalent to 2,428 BTUs. That's an overstated heat output of 25%. For comparison purposes, this is a UK Radiators column radiator. This is the UK Radiators website where the radiator is being sold. Here is its advertised heat output. This is the test report that backs it. And as you can see in the report, the heat output in watts is exactly as stated on the website. This is how radiators are supposed to be sold by law. The 5 radiators that we have tested as part of this exercise are just a tiny sample taken at random. There are in fact millions of radiators sold every year with significantly overstated heat outputs. Given the impact that this has on the efficiency of a central heating system over the lifetime of these radiators, I would estimate the cost to the British people to be in the billions. So we have to ask ourselves, why is nothing being done about it? I recently heard Rishi Sunak talking about the government's role in regulating business practices, that they see themselves as like a referee in a football match.
You talk about referee, and that's what we're talking about.
When I heard this, given all that I know about these issues surrounding radiators, I couldn't help but think of that famous football chant. You know the one. In all seriousness though, it's vital that we see change and that we see it now. Every day that goes by, more radiators are being sold with overstated heat outputs, impacting more and more people's heating bills, as well as pushing the UK's net zero targets further out of reach. So please share this video to raise awareness, and please, if you can, sign our petition and help us call for action, as the government must step in, do its job and bring an end to this scandal.
So a good little video that, to be fair, and it's highlighted some key problems as a plumber as someone who sells radiators to customers, that these companies are getting away with overstating their BTUs. I'm selling a radiator to a customer that is too small for a room, so that's going to come back to me in the long run. If that radiator is not heating that room to what we need, it's going to end up costing the customer even more money. We're spending billions of pounds on energy bills which we don't need to. There's a cost of living crisis going on, for goodness sake. We need to save every penny we can. So what Rob and the UK Radiator team are doing by taking this petition to the government is amazing. And I plead with you to sign this petition. Share the video, sign the petition. It will take you 2 minutes, if that. Just to spread the word is enough and highlight this problem to other buyers, other plumbers, other customers, that these cheaper radiators are always better. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please, I beg you, sign the petition, like the video, please share. Let's spread the word and let's get an end to this and let's get this regulated.